Today I'm going to be showing you how to replace the rubber boots on a Revo or E-Revo. These are made out of soft rubber and over time they will rip due to wear and tear, especially for the fronts since they turn. So let's go ahead and get this started. And here are the only tools that you're going to need: a 17mm wheel wrench, the Traxxas suspension multi-tool, a 2.5mm hex screwdriver or Allen wrench, and needle nose pliers. So in order to replace the boots, you are going to need this part, number 5378X. Inside, they will include instructions, braces, rubber boots, pivot ball caps, and pivot ball seals. First thing you gotta do is remove the tire by undoing the wheel nut. Underneath you're gonna see these rubber covers. This is when you're gonna use the needle nose pliers. You're gonna gently pull them out. Underneath the rubber seals, when you look into the holes, you are going to see the ends of the pivot balls. However, in order to have full access to unscrewing them, you're going to have to keep the arm completely horizontal. That way, you can stick your tool in there and unscrew them. You're going to start off on the top a little bit and then on the bottom for a little bit. You want to do this evenly back and forth until they come all the way out. While you're working on the back, you're going to realize while unscrewing the pivot balls, this rear camber link is going to cause the rear axle carrier to start rotating this way, which is not going to allow you full access to the pivot balls. So all you have to do to correct that is remove this single screw. Now you'll be able to rotate this in the direction you need to undo the pivot balls the rest of the way. For each boot there's going to be this plastic brace that holds it down. What you're going to do is just get a small tool and pry out the clip. Once that's out of the way, you can pull off the rubber boot. On the other side of the pivot ball, you're going to see this serrated pattern. That is what this tool is for. So you're going to slide that in there, make sure it's flush, and then you're going to unscrew it. Once you pull out this piece, the pivot ball should come right on out. Now's the perfect time to just go ahead and use a little bit of rubbing alcohol, clean the pivot ball, as well as the place where the pivot ball sits. Once that's taken care of, you're going to go ahead and get a new pivot ball cap. Now you're going to get the pivot ball seal, then you're going to lay it across the top. Then using something blunt, you're just going to go ahead and push it in. Once it's all the way in, you can go ahead and get the pivot ball, put it back in, and then screw the pivot ball cap all the way down. Once you screw it all the way down, you're going to unscrew it half a turn to a full turn. That way, it's going to allow the pivot ball to move freely. An easy way to see if the pivot ball cap is loose enough is just push the pivot ball all the way up and then unscrew it until it falls down. Now it's time to install the new boots. As you can see, mine are black, but that's because I used some clothes dye to turn them black. But anyways, let's go ahead and slide these on. Make sure they're slid all the way on, and then we're going to go ahead and put on the brace. And there you have it. You're going to want to make sure that the rubber boot is even across the brace. Once that's done, you can go ahead and do the other one. With both boots on, you can go ahead and reattach this to the A-arms. You're going to make sure that the drive line is hooked up properly into the cup, and then you're going to realign the pivot balls with the A-arm. Next up, you're going to get your Allen wrench or screwdriver, and you're going to go ahead and slide it through the hole in the cap, and then screw in the pivot balls. Just like before, you're going to do a little bit on top and then a little bit on bottom. Now you're going to want to make sure that you push the boot all the way down to the smooth part of the pivot ball screw. Otherwise, it could be grabbed and then pulled out from the brace. If this happens, just undo the brace and then put the boot back in place. Once the pivot balls are screwed all the way in, you can go ahead and reattach the camber link if you disconnected it. Then you can go ahead and reattach the tire. Make sure you tighten it down all the way. Now there's one last thing you need to do before you're done, and that is to get the right angle on your tire. When you screw the pivot balls down all the way, it's going to put the tire at the angle at the end of the A-arms. So your tire might end up being more along this line. If you want to, you can go ahead and readjust the tire more like this by loosening up the lower pivot ball, and that's what I'm going to do. So on the end, you're going to rotate the tire, that way you have a gap that allows you to reach the pivot ball at the end of the A-arm, and then you're just going to slightly loosen it up. Now you can see that I can actually turn the rotation of the tire by undoing this lower pivot ball. Once you get the right angle, you're done. With the tire back on and all of them readjusted, you are finally done. I hope this video helped you out.